Today, on the sixth day of World Mental Health Week, we have a very unique guest speaker with us, Honorable Remya Rajeev ma'am from India, and she is an assistant professor at Department of English as Paramekku College of Arts and Science from Kerala. And today she is going to enlighten us on a very relevant and important topic. The topic is empowering young minds, society's contribution to mental well-being. So, not taking too much time, now I would like to request our guest to kindly proceed today's session. Ma'am, please.
Good evening to one and all. A warm welcome to those who all are hearing me. Namaste. I am Remya Rajeev. I'm currently working as an assistant professor, Department of English in Parmekava College of Arts and Science. This is my first talk that I am ever delivering. So hopefully you'll all like it. The topic that I will be dealing today is it's something that you all know. It's just that I am going to put it into words so that you have a clear cut idea on what is happening around the world, especially when it comes to the mental health and the psychological and emotional health of a child, basically maybe a small child to a teenager around 20s. We'll be discussing things that would matter to a child like that. So without any further ado, I would like to continue with my presentation. Okay. Yes, so my topic is empowering young minds, society's contribution to mental well-being. Yes, first slide. Let's discuss in general on what is mental well-being or mental health, as we say. It is basically the state of mind where an individual, regardless of whether it is a child or an adult or someone in the early 50s or 60s, it is the state of mind or state of well-being where a person is able to access his or her potential, cope with all the things that is happening around, whether it be stress or any other situation, and also productively change his or her emotions and routine things that is there to make something productive in the community. So when we talk about health, it is usually people concentrate on the physical health, maybe cholesterol or diabetes or any other physical problems. Maybe you fractured your bones, or you have some other cardio problems or anything like that. So when you typically talk about health, it is usually physical or bodily health that we talk about. In the recent few decades, or recent few years, we can say mental health and emotional health, all these topics are getting so much of concentration from people, and especially the new generation around the world, uh, showcasing that it is very important to understand that health is not only about your physical thing, it is also something that is uh, mental and emotional, and something that should come from within you. Okay, so basically, if you want to understand whether you're mentally healthy, there are three questions that you can basically ask. First question is, are you happy? Are you happy in the life that you are in the society that you are in the work life that you are in? Secondly, are you peaceful at mind? When you are you able to sit idly without thinking about anything, with the calm and peace and zen that you can have? And finally, the third question is, when you find yourself sitting without doing anything, do you find yourself overthinking about different stuff? Do you feel like your thoughts are carried on like chain process inside your head? So you ask these three questions to yourself, maybe every day at night or in the morning when you wake up, and you will understand whether what is your state of what is the mental health level that you are at. Okay. uh, Next slide. Balancing mind and nurturing soul. See, mental well-being or mental health, as we say, it is mainly of three. It has three components. First is emotional, second is psychological, and third is social. Emotional, as we say, it's basically your emotions or anyone's emotions that matters. It's very complex, and you don't feel one emotion at one particular point of time. For example, when I was sitting here waiting for the session to go live, I was anxious, I was shivering, I was tensed whether my network connection would be okay or not. So, at one particular point, you feel a lot of emotions together. So, understanding the emotion or recognizing the emotion, analyzing the emotion, and act according to that. These are the three levels of emotional uh, stage that we anyone has to attain. The sad part is, since these emotions are complex, we still don't know what we are feeling at one particular point of time. That is the irony that we all are living in. So that is emotional. Psychological, as you say, it's about how you cope with things that is happening in your life, whether it is external factors, whether they are internal factors. How ready are you to cope with things, understand the complexity of life, and challenge things that is coming on your way. Thirdly, when you talk about social health, it is more like the relationships that you have, the interpersonal relationship that you have with your family members, your relatives, your co-workers, the society at whole. So those relationships is what is meant, or what I mean by social element in mental health. So these three are the main three key elements when it comes to mental health. Emotional topic or emotional health, there were many experts who talked about emotional health and the psychological health. In yesterday's session, Professor Matt had talked about emotional intelligence and how we can attain world peace through through the peace or the emotional intelligence that we have. So let's not dive deep into that. But anyhow, since all these are connected, we will uh, touch each and every point one by one. Okay. So when you talk about society, let's come to our topic. When you talk about society, a child or a baby does not enter into the society at the moment he or she is born into. The first society that he or she is in is the family. The family is the first society he or she is born into. Then comes the school, and slowly, steadily, the society, the country, the world, etc. So, family is the first and the most important element in a child's life. Um, there are several elements in the family structure that affects a child. Basically, I've divided into two. The first is family structure and family dynamics, and then comes the parenting style. Family structure basically, we have joint family, nuclear family, single parent family. These three or especially in India, we are very familiar with. When you talk about same sex family, right now, transgenders or the other gender or the other sexual community, the part of the community is receiving recognition. So, same sex, maybe lesbian couples, gay couples, trans couples, all these people are getting recognition. So, this family structure is called the same sex family. And when you talk about blended family, it's like there is a couple, a father and a mother, they have children, they later get divorced, they remarry, they then have children, and all this set up together in one familial situation is called blended family. So this is one point. Next is family dynamics. Each family, how many members, regardless of the members there is in the family, there is always the relationship between the people. Maybe the relationship between parents, your siblings, or the elders in the family, and so on. There is also a power structure that is there in any family. There is one person who is head of the family. In most cases, it's the father or the elder man in the family, but otherwise, power structure is there. And because of this power structure, conflicts can happen, divorces can happen, and all these things are happening. So, this is one aspect. When you come to the second aspect, it is the parenting style. The reason all these three are interconnected, but reason for separating this topics into two different parts is that parenting style is one thing that we can focus on, or the parents can change. Family structure, family dynamics, it all depends on fate, or it all depends on particular situation, and in most cases we don't have control over it. So, parenting style is one of the most important key factors when you come to a child's growth or mental growth and physical growth. As you can see in the presentation, there are four basic parenting styles, out of which the authoritative style is the best style. It is the combination of authoritarian style, the permissive style, and the unresponsive style. Okay, let me give you a simple example. When you're talking about parenting, usually it's for small kids. When the parents want to control small kids, they use a technique called the threatening technique. Basically, the parents or the elders make the child be scared of something and make him or her understand that if you don't obey something, then something bad will happen to you. Simple example, I have a nephew who's almost 2.5 years old. And I recently realized this: when I want him to obey something, I tell him that if you don't obey, maybe a beast will come and eat you. Or if you don't obey, I will go out of your life. This, in one or two instances, can be a very silly matter. But when a child hears this constantly, the thought that his or her parents will leave them when something happens in their life, it creates a very drastic impact on their mind, leading to degeneration in their emotional and mental well-being. So, authoritative style is the best style, where you have to be strong sometimes, but at the same time, when you have to loosen up, when you have to talk to your children, you have to maintain that fun, easy go kind of attitude. So, instead of this threatening style, what can the parents usually use? The first thing is your being the model behavior for your children. Children are like mirrors. What you do, they kind of imitate you. You might have always noticed the way you call someone, maybe the way you call your spouse or your husband. Usually, the kid calls the father like that. If you call your husband by the name, the child, there is a high chance he or she might call the child's father, that is your husband, with the particular name. So, this shows that the child imitates whatever you do. So, being the more perfect model for your child is the first thing that you can do. Second is positive reinforcement. When you talk about positive reinforcement, congratulate or appreciate your child for doing something that is good. Maybe if your child helped you out with your household work, maybe give a clap or make a chore chart where you can give star for your child, or maybe give a token of love, maybe a chocolate or maybe something sweet or something that the child likes. This is another method that you can implement in your life. Another one is setting clear and consistent expectations for your child, which basically means that sometimes in some cases, uh, parents or elders can be hypocrites, or you can say, uh, same situation happening at two different point of time, maybe today and tomorrow, a single parent may behave in two different manners. When such a situation happens, usually the child gets confused which is correct and which is wrong. If, for example, when your child falls down, maybe today you ran and caught him. Oh, are you hurt? Are you okay? You're asking the child. Tomorrow, when the child is falling down, maybe the child fell down in a funny manner and you started laughing. This creates a confusion. Is me falling down okay? Is that a correct thing or is that a wrong thing? The child gets confused. So, maintaining the clarity in your actions is also very important for a child's growth. So these are the three few of the many methods that you can follow in implementing a proper parenting style. Okay, coming to the next small portion is schooling. So now the baby is born, the baby is into the family. Approximately 4 to 5 years old, the child is usually enrolled into a school. Now, when you're talking about school, school is the best environment or the primary environment. A child learns to interact with other people outside the family. It can be the teachers, the students, the non teaching staff that is there, the drivers, the vehicle drivers and all of that. So it is in the school that a child learns to interact with other people outside family. Now, starting from this point, we are going to look into a child's mental well-being from a different perspective. Usually, when we are talking to about a child, or when we are talking about mental health, usually we check uh, the mental health from the society's point of view on a particular person. Here, we are going to check how the mental health of a particular person is being affected by the many people in the society. So, we are going to look from one to many effect. So, in schools, you would have already known you would have already know that teachers have a great importance in a child's life. For example, if you tell your child that 1 plus 1 is 2, and by mistake the teacher said 1 plus 1 is 3, it is likely that the child will believe the teacher, even if he or she is telling wrong, whether it is deliberate or non deliberate, or whatever the reason is. Uh, it is likely that your child will believe the teacher rather than yourself. So, teachers have a great importance in life, and therefore it is necessary for a teacher to be non-biased, to consider all the students and all the children as equal, regardless of the environment they come from, regardless of the financial situation, regardless of the society or the country or whatever it is, regardless of the external factors. It is important for a child, for a teacher to be egoless, unbiased person. Now, I come from a teacher family where my mother, my grandmother, my grandparent, my grandfather, his siblings, siblings' wives, their children, my aunts, everyone, we all come from a big teacher family. So take it from me when I say that each and every word a teacher utters, it affects the children badly or in a good way, immensely, you can say. Now, this is something that happened in my college and my school days. I have seen, when a program is being attended, there is a particular committee called the reception committee, where these people will be the reception committee people will be the ones who will be welcoming the guest into the auditorium or into the college or school or whatever. So I still remember one of the teachers who was teaching me rejected a girl from my class to become a part of the reception committee just because she was having a dark skin, dark complexion. The teacher clear cut said that you're dark skinned, you're not beautiful, and you cannot be in the reception committee, or you cannot be the face of our institution. And that created a big, real bad impact on her. She was pondering about it for weeks and weeks. She talked about it to me and her friends and other teachers who were supportive to her. So this is one simple example what can how the society and the teachers can impact a child. Let's come to the main four topics or the 4 points that is given in the slide. First one is academic pressure. Especially when you come to Indian context, academic pressure it's a big deal. Uh, the educational competition that is happening in India is so intense that the parents and the teachers start giving the pressure for academics or excelling in academics from a very young age. I still remember one of my cousin brothers who's married at that point, had 2 kids, and the second one, he was enrolling my second niece into first standard or second standard probably, and the principal instructed my brother to make sure she's joined into a tuition center apart from the school. So this is one simple example where I can show that academic pressure is intense even for the small kids. When you talk about childhood, it is about enjoying life, it is about enjoying uh, going outside, playing on the ground, playing with the friends, doing some small naughty things and all of that. But academic pressure, it destroys that complete childhood innocence and stuff like that. Prejudice, teacher, and favoritism, I have already discussed. Transitioning into a new school or a new pattern. This is also an important thing. Usually, a trend that we can see in Kerala is that up to 8th standard, that is the end of middle school, the Parents keep the students in a CBSE school where English is being taught, where the standard is considered to be a little high, considered, not exactly, but considered, yes. So we have a central board syllabus, national syllabus that is given by the Central Board of Education and all of that. And after the 8th standard or from 8th standard, the child is suddenly shifted to a government or a state board syllabus. The whole difference in the changing in the pattern, school pattern, the society pattern, or the environment pattern, that also affects from a very different levels of education, from a very different language that is being used. The level is being drastically increased or decreased, because of which it affects the child's psyche a little bit. Next is bullying or violence. Often, bullying and violence is seen widely in today's scenario in schools and colleges, and the reason for a child being a bully or being violent is definitely the most major reason is the familial setup where the child comes from. It is true, many people may oppose against me, but it is the familial setup, the parents, the other members in the family who affect this. Substance abuse, drug abuse, and all of this is very common in students when it come to India. And this is and as per my investigation, the substance abuse and the drug abuse start from a very young age, and in most cases from the family. People, or sorry, the children and students see this from a very young age and finds it very normal to be to use drugs and other substances in their daily life. So everything, even when we are talking about schooling, we brought in the parental and the familial setup and stuff like that. Now, before going into society, that is the next largest stage, I would like to discuss about media and technology. Now, media and technology, it is an integral part of anyone's life right now, especially after the COVID-19. We have online classes that's going on. We have work from home scenario. People are earning money from different lives that is happening from social media and other platforms. I still remember initially during my schooling time, I remember chatting with my friends through a platform called Hangouts in Gmail. It's a very I don't know how many of the audience would know about it, but Hangouts was the initial chat platform that people from my age used to use. Later, smartphones came, WhatsApp, Instagram, and other Facebook and Twitter, and all of that came one by one, according to chronology and all of that. So, and later the idea of connecting with people also changed. Like sitting here, I am able to connect with every one of you all, maybe from different parts of the world, maybe from different parts of India, Kerala, etc. That is just because of the power of social media, internet, and all of that. But let's come to the negative aspect of it. If you open my particular phone, you wouldn't find Instagram, you wouldn't find Facebook, or you wouldn't find me active in it at least. Reason being, you wouldn't find me in OTT platforms as well. Reason being that I know that I will be addicted if I start using it. One small thing that I can say is during my schooling, I was very addicted to these series and stuff, the web series that happens. So the one free minute that I get, I run upstairs, take the mobile phone, I on the video, and I start watching it. My sisters would be screaming inside my ears, and I would even realize that they are talking to me. So that is the kind of addiction I'm talking about. Since since I'm aware of the mistake that I did, I am able to correct it. When you talk about smaller, younger kids, they don't have an idea on what they are doing. So, controlling the usage of media and technology, the content they have access to, is also very important. Cyberbullying and screen time, these are the causes. This is what happens when a child is left to unmonitored usage of technology. Simple example: a small child about 5 to 6 year old, it is not necessary for the child to know anything about affecting a person's psyche. Okay, let's come to the bigger platform, that is harnessing. community, where we try to bring in the community, make the community understand what is happening, how their behavior is kind of making the situation for the child difficult. So, harnessing community. Here, when I say community, it includes the family members, the school, and every other aspect. So, we have heard this statement: there is no bad student, there is only a bad teacher. And when I say teacher, anything and everything that imparts knowledge can be a teacher. It not necessarily be a teacher enrolled in a, or being employed in a college or in a school or anything. It can be even digital media, it can be the other people around you. Anything and everything that teaches you is a teacher. So similarly, there is no one is born bad or no one is born criminals. It is the society that makes him or her so. Simple example I can give. Back when I was doing my schooling, there was a particular boy in my class. We were in the same batch, and I clearly remember my teachers cursing him, telling that he's good for nothing, he will not succeed in his life. He come from broken family. He does not have the ability to do well in anything. So from a very young age, I was a very emotionally reactive person, but I slowly changed myself and I became an emotionally active person, which allowed me to become an empathetic one. So listening to all the slurs that I heard the teachers talking about this boy, I felt very bad about it. But at one particular instance, I got a chance to talk to him one by one. And this happened when I was back in my middle school, and I got to know that he has a lot of anger issues. He never showed his anger on me or any of his friends, but he had this anger issues just because he comes from a very broken family. He does not have a proper support system. His siblings were not there with him. He didn't know whom to depend on. So, because of this, he found a defense mechanism, and that is anger. Before anything can affect him, anything can destroy him, he tries to be reactive and oppose that. This was just a small defense mechanism that he had found out. Being a young boy at that age, maybe around 14 to 15 years old, this was the only thing that he could do. So this is one example where I can say where I can show that society, or when the society is pinpointing a person to be bad, the reason why that person is bad is always a society. It is the familial setup, it is the society, it is the relatives, it is the school, or it is the people that is around that person. Okay, the lack of support or a sense of isolation can lead to feeling of loneliness and low self worth. It also increases the risk of anxiety and depression. So, okay, let's talk about three main things. Very important that you have to mark it in your life: cultural expectation, gender roles, and generational gap. Cultural expectation. When you're talking about culture, different culture has different aspects. When you're talking about Indian culture, as I said earlier, academic pressure is intense. It is damn intense that you cannot handle. Recently there was an international conference that happened in my college related to emotional intelligence, and one particular PhD holder in psychology, in one branch of psychology, brought out a statistics that was there. And in that particular statistics, he mentioned that the suicide rates in India, it is high, or it is at the peak between the age gap of 15 to 27. That is almost the teenage years to your early youth, almost that period. So it is at this point when a person actually develops drastically, but that drastic development is happening slowly and steadily. So at this point, when there is a lot of pressure, when there is a lot of expectation that is happening based on you, or that is happening on you, it slowly breaks your stability, your mental stability, your emotional stability, and it will disintegrate you as the time goes by. So cultural expectation, one aspect is that you can that I can say is the academic expectation. Another thing is when the students or when the child comes from a very elite family, or when the child comes from a very financially well settled family, the child is expected to keep the family honor. This the idea of family honor, it is relevant in any situation, in any family setup, regardless of their financial setup. But let's concentrate here. In elite family, the child is supposed to dress in one way. The child is not supposed to expose the relationship that he or she has, regardless of whether it is a love relationship or not. The child is supposed to wear a particular kind of dress only. The child is only supposed to speak a particular language or speak in a particular accent. All these tiny, tiny things are the cultural expectations that is implied or imposed on a child in an elite family. When you come to the extreme opposite, when you talk about a child coming from a very poor financial status, okay, it is not the mistake of the parents or the family that they are in a poor family situation or financial situation. But anyhow, that also creates a drastic impact. The child have to become mature beyond his age uh, from a very young point in time. The child has to give up of all the childhood luxuries that he might get, maybe the experience that he gets with his family, the small naughtiness or the small cranky things that he only can do during his childhood. He or she loses all of that because of this cultural expectation. Next is gender roles. This is also a very um, important aspect that you can say. In most cultural or in most society, gender roles is so damn rigid that you cannot break away from it. I'll give you a simple example. I'll give you two examples. um, First thing is, mm, okay, gender roles. First idea, what you have to understand is sex and gender. These are two completely different things. When you check in Indian government forms or in any forms that you have to fill in India that I have seen, the people use the word sex and gender interchangeably, and that is completely wrong. Sex is related to your biology, the reproductive organs that you have. Gender is basically a socially constructed set of rules and regulation that women have to follow and that men have to follow. And the opposite is also applicable. If you're a man, you have to be stone hearted. You are not supposed to show your emotions. You have to carry all the burden on your shoulder. If you're the woman, you have to look after the household. If you are the woman, you're not supposed to go out after a particular time of the day. If you are a woman, you're not supposed to uh, chat with other people, especially of the opposite gender or the opposite sex, you can say. So this is one thing. But as and when you realize, when you start realizing, when you start analyzing the social situation, you understand that the socially constructed gender roles, it is completely invalid. Simple example I'll give you. 2018, I entered my undergraduation. I studied, until then I studied in four different co-ed schools. I did my undergraduation in one of the most brilliant colleges here in my area, Ansar Women's College. I learned in a women's college. 3 beautiful years of my life. I understood. Those 3 years literally changed my life. If a simple program is being organized, from getting sponsorship, from organizing, doing the manual works, doing the technical works, arranging, organizing, managing, food committee, all of this was simply handled by young children, young girls, and young women. So these 3 years made me understand that the so-called socially constructed gender roles, it is invalid. It doesn't apply. Of course, there are exceptional cases. Not everyone are the same. Everyone are different, unique, etc. But uh, this is the whole idea. You don't have to stick to that. I am not only supposed to look after the family. I can also become emotional, and I can also become financially well settled for my family. I can look after the family. I can go for a job. I can do the things at the same time, take care of my family. Now let's come to the opposite section. When you come to the boys are always burdened with the idea of looking after the family. In general case, the boys are not allowed or do not find the time to do their masters or whatever they want to do in their life because of the burden that they have. Not always the boys are capable enough to look after the family, and not always the women are capable enough to look after the household stuff in the family. So gender roles, these stereotypes that is happening in the society is also very it is also one thing that you have to consider uh, while you want to talk about the mental health of a child. Now, talking about generational gap, I'll come to that point in a few minutes. Let's go to the next slide. That is redirecting compass and shattering stigma. So all these things are happening. These are the ways how the society, how the people in the society, their behavior affect a person, affect a child in the basic level. So how can we break out of it, or how can the society break out of it and build themselves so that the society and so that the future is bright for anyone? First thing, let's talk it out. Be verbal about it. Sometimes when you might face a situation, and but at the same time you might not know you are facing it consciously. So when you say the things out, when you say that I am facing so and so problems, it becomes clear to yourself and the other standing opposite to you the situation. The sad part is the society even now is not ready to hear the things that is happening with the child who is a member of their community. I'll give you simple examples: sexuality, mental health, personal boundaries, individuality, uniqueness, dreams, wishes, aspirations. All these things are considered as taboo topics. Like how we say, all these things are breaking off, the chain is breaking, the silence is being broken off. That is true, but it is still considered as a taboo subject. So, once you try to understand what it is, once you try to understand the whole situation, you can accept the people, you can accept the students, or accept the children the way they are. Now, um, right now, because of the change in the mindset, especially of the children of the present situation, present generation, they are talking about the physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, all these things that they are facing. Now, the next question, let's talk about generational gap here. The one thing that the older generations would say, that we faced all these problems. It is true. War or the independence fight, the natural disasters that had happened, all these things, the financial setup, everything has affected the older generations as well. But apart from the physical aspect of it, people don't realize, the older generation also don't realize, it is the emotional aspect or the mental aspect of it that destroyed them completely, whether it is physical, mental, or emotional. So once the older generation also start to analyze that and realize that this the stage to opening up the stage for talking it out, talking about anything and everything under the world, under the sun, becomes a reality, and that will also um, help you out, help any children. One more aspect that I would like to bring in is, India was predominantly a patriarchal community. uh, yes, the whole setup is being changed, women are coming out, women are doing the stuff they want, they are going for job, they are giving priority, they are able to give priority to their career, they are allowed to go out of their house, they are allowed to have a job and things like that. But two things to consider: women are still allowed to be free, women are still allowed to be to do what they want. Actually, the women, the word allowed or allow is not or should not be used in a case. That is one thing. Second thing, even now, when the patriarchal setup is being wiped off, the women are still so imbibed in the patriarchal setup that they themselves don't realize they are being oppressed or they are being suppressed emotionally and mentally. That is the irony of the whole this the female part of the community. Now, we have talked about the women. Let's talk about the man in this case. Actually, from my perspective, it is this idea of patriarchy that is the biggest problem that man faces. As I said, man is always, or a male person is always instructed to be stone hearted. You're not supposed to cry. Simple example, when my nephew he falls down and he cries, or when I see my friends boy children falling down, or they are crying or making a fuss out of things, they are said, boys don't cry, boys are not supposed to cry. Why not? Why can't the boys cry? They are also entitled to all the emotions and all the things that we are facing, or the women are facing. So the patriarchal setup that gives immense importance to men is also the reason, one of the reasons why the mental well-being of men is being retarded. So that is the first case. Next comes being spiritual and not being religious. This is a very crucial topic, very controversial topic, that if I speak about it, can cause a whole rift between people. But let's talk about it. I'm not going to concentrate on a particular religion of that matters. Um, so, what is religion basically? Religion is like a set of structured rituals. It is about some teachings and it is about community worship. In a very basic sense, this is what is religion. But what is spiritual, or what is the idea of being spiritual, or the idea of spirituality? Spirituality is religion at a very extreme, completely next level. It's like it is about personal growth, it is about personal development, it is about the connection that you have uh, with the higher power that is there somewhere in the world, in the universe. It is about the connection that you have with that source of origin. So it is basically about self development or personal development, self awareness, and thinking beyond yourself. It is about thinking about self and thinking beyond yourself. So this is the difference between being religious and being spiritual. um, but there is one point, religion or spirituality started from religion. That is one point that you have to admit. How did basically religion originate? Religion is not something that was there initially when the man or the human beings were born. It was not there, definitely it was not there. Religion is something that is man made. It was made by us. And why did we make it? We made it because at the early times we did not have rules or regulations to follow. Everyone were in People were invading other people's family life, other people's boundaries and things like that. So until and unless we did not have a set of rules and regulations, it would have continued. So religion became a set of rules that would guide the lifestyle of people. So religion was made for man to live by, and it is made by man. And religion, it should not be the other way around. So this aspect, if you understand all the religious rifts that is happening in India or in the other parts of the world, that will also be reduced. So this idea of religion, following religion, being spiritual and all of that, it can also create a beautiful change in a person's mind. I'll give you some points. In Indian context, we have this thing called yoga and meditation. When you come to Mahayana Buddhism, we have the idea of being Zen. Also, we have this different traditional art forms that is there. All these things initially were made to focusing on the mental health of a person. It was yoga and meditation. If you take it is based on mental, the mind and the soul, and not the body. Through the bodily movements, through the controlled actions of the body, it is affecting the body, it is affecting the mind and the soul. The same is with Zen, being Zen, and the different traditional art forms that is there. So that is the second point. Coming to the final point and the last point in my presentation, understanding the fact that we all are equal. Let's talk about this in two different aspects. Let's talk about in the spiritual or the religious way, you can say. In different aspect, if you go into Christianity and Islam, you can say that God made a man, a woman was made by breaking the ribs of the man, and yeah, and the women were created. So there are different stories in different different major religions and different small non-pagan religions as well. But the aspect is humans were, or the origin of human beings started from one man or one source, you can say. Come scientifically, when you take it scientifically, we have Charles Darwin's theories, we have theory of evolution. Again, if you go to religious aspect, there is a story on the Tower of Babel. I'm not sure how many of you all are familiar with the Tower of Babel or the story about that. Basically, the idea is human beings were there, human beings spread in the world, and they became greedy, and they all wanted a place in the heaven. So the human beings, they all started building a long, large tower, and they started building the tower one by one, one by one. And the god realized the greed and the selfishness that was there in human beings. Therefore, what he did was he destroyed the Tower of Babel. He scattered the human beings on different parts of the world and also changed the language. Initially, it is being said that the language of humans, of every human, were the same. And because after this incident of the Tower of Babel, the God deliberately changed the language that people used into different aspects or different ones, just because he don't want the humans to come back together again and create a whole another problem. This aspect that I am seeing from the story is the origin of human beings, the origin, the idea, or the way we used to communicate, the way we used to live around, it was all the same. Now let's talk about two more things. Um, yes, we say that okay, our skin color being white, black, brown, yellow, whatever. Um, this racial aspect. The next thing is people always differentiate themselves. In India, people say that I'm Aryan, or I'm a part of the Dravidian community, or I'm Westerner, or I'm Easterner, I'm Irish, Australian, American, African, etc. But if you cut your hand, it is the red blood that always flows. It is the idea that you all are the same, or we all are the same. That is one aspect. Secondly, especially when you come or concentrate on Indian context, the caste system is something that is imbibed and engraved in people's minds. Again, this is a very controversial topic. People would bash on me, or maybe go against me if I talk about it, but this is a relevant topic. Initially, the caste system is said to have been born, or is said to have originated from the occupation that a person follows. In the initial days, people did not have several sources. So if a goldsmith have a child, the child also becomes a goldsmith. If the father or the mother is a warrior, the child also becomes a warrior. As and when the resources started spreading, people started getting different resources. This idea of following the parents or the familial occupation changed. So naturally, this idea of caste system should have been broken down, or it should have been wiped out from the whole Indian system, but it is not. Right now, the caste system, it is still there in India. It is still there in different parts of India, whether people accept it or not. But simple thing to consider, um, if two children are born at the same time in the same hospital, one from an upper caste society, one belonging to an upper caste society, one belonging to a lower caste society, while giving the child to the parents, if they are interchanged, if the lower caste baby is gone to the upper caste family, and the upper caste baby is gone to the lower caste family, the children will still live on. They will still live on. They will still have an occupation. They will still have a life and things like that. So when you start using race, when you start using caste, when you start using gender or sex, when you start using all these different elements to segregate yourself from each other, that is the point that you have to understand that you are you're not okay. And at the same time, when you are practicing that, you're making the other people who are standing opposite to you also not okay. So yes, the final statement of this is understand the fact that you are all human beings. Sorry, we are all human beings. It is us. We are the ones who should look after our next generation. We are the ones who should take care of the children in our generation. We are the ones who should teach good things for the for their betterment, for the betterment of our future, of the earth, of the world, etc. So finally, the last slide. A mentally healthy child today leads to a healthier society tomorrow. A mentally healthy child today leads to a healthier society tomorrow. So I hope you all understand the essence of what I'm trying to tell. Um, all the mental health is a very crucial topic that any everyone should talk about at least once in a day, even to your child, even to the small younger children in your family. Ask the question, are you happy or are you okay? What are you feeling? It is important to ask this question even to a small child. Maybe the first 5 times the child might not respond properly, but the sixth time or the seventh time or the nth time, the child will say, I'm not feeling good today. I feel awkward, or I'm feeling angry today. I'm really happy. I'm excited. I'm anxious. I'm scared. I'm sad. I'm not good. People are hurting me. They will tell the things of what they are feeling inside to you, and that will help you mold your child even better than you have ever done before, even better than the previous generations that actually took care of us. So our goal in today's life should be to take care of others, be empathetic, imbibe humanity in you. uh, yes, it is important to be selfish at some point. You have to take care of your own mental health. Since we are all mature elder people, uh, it is important to take care of your mental health. True, you should not go into toxic society. You should not go and talk to toxic people. You should not go into toxic situations also. But at the same time, when you're taking care of yourself, it is important to take care of the younger generation as well. You and the younger generation, that is the connection that you have to bring. And that when you do that, when you start doing that, whole of the society will join you together in being the one big global community that we are and that we aspire to become. So thank you everyone. This is me, Remya Rajeev, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Parmekava College of Arts and Science. Signing off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an insightful session. And I think people, especially the parents and the children and teachers also, they should learn a lot from today's session and try to sort out the problems related to the young minds, how we have to shape their minds, first identifying those problems, then we have to inculcate the right ideas, the right vision, the right intellect towards the human life. So it was really an inspiring session. And before winding up today's session, what will be your conclude message and remark to hold the humanity or the world through this session?
Okay, let's talk to the elder people in the or the mature people in the community. Right now, there are a lot of things that is happening in the world. We had this COVID that happened in the world. In Kerala or in India, if you look, we had this Nipah virus that was there. A lot of medical things are happening. Apart from that, we have war that is happening on a global level, whether it is between India and any other country, or it is or any other countries in the world. All of this is happening. The idea, if you understand the idea that we all are different individuals and we don't have the right to invade another person's privacy, if you understand that whole idea, everything will uh, naturally diminish down. All the problems in the society, in the world, will diminish down. Give importance to your mental health, your emotional health, uh, as you consider your physical health. Your physical health is important. You have to eat well, you have to sleep well. um, you have to do all of that. Even I am lacking in that area, but even I have to do that. I have to sleep, I have to eat good food and all of that. But apart from taking care of your physical body, you have to think about your mind and your soul. That is really important. And when you don't do that, that is the reason why all these problems are happening. So understand two things: take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, and understand that we all are human beings. We are different, we are unique, and yeah, that's it.